Hey cats, what's happening? It looks like the sun's trying to come out today. Still pretty nippy, kind of chilly. Spring's right around the corner though. Next weekend, we turn the clocks ahead. 1 hour. I don't know why, but we do that here. We have had some pretty decent days already. I wouldn't call it spring yet. Maybe it's coming on the spring pretty quick here. We're still in March. And in Ohio, we've still been getting some snow and some real crappy weather. But last week, we actually hit 70 degrees one day. And man, you should have seen the bikes out. They were coming out of the woodwork. Not this one, though, because there was still salt on the road. I mean, look at my truck. And this is just from this past week. You know, that's salt on there. And you take the bike out, even on a dry road, that stuff sticks statically, and look at all the nooks and crannies that salt can get into if you are out riding your bike. Your best option would be to hose it off when you get home if you had that option. Otherwise, that salt lays on there and causes you all kinds of trouble. Now, since last week, we had some torrential downpour. I mean, it came down. Our whole front down here along the driveway was flooded. We had that much rain. So that would rinse a lot of the salt off the roads and make it suitable for riding. A little cold right now. How about my bike? You've asked me, Itchy, how do you winterize your bike? I don't. I mean, this is it. I pulled it in the garage and parked it, and it's always ready to go. So let's see what it'll do here. I'm not going to let it warm up. I don't plan on riding it today. I've got other plans for today, and it's already going into mid-afternoon, so we'll save that for some other time. But yeah, a lot of what I call the weekend warriors are out. They come out of the woodwork. The ones that, I'm always watching these. V and I are always, eyeballing these other bikers, and I label people. I do that just out of fun, I mean, I don't mean anything personal about it. Yuppies, rubs, hillbillies, mouth breathers, but I got a name for everybody. But V and I just do it out of a laugh, not to take it serious. But all the weekend warriors are out, and I'm always intrigued by these guys. You go into Medina, we go into Medina to do some grocery shopping. And when we get in town there, here's some guy on a motorcycle wearing a t-shirt. It's like 50, 60 degrees. And I'm thinking, okay, this cat couldn't have barely made it around the block dressed like that. So obviously he lives, within 500 yards from here or something, because he sure couldn't be riding too far dressed like that. But he's out there, like, yeah, I'm badass. I'm on a bike right now, and I'm out riding. I just find it amusing, If I lived in the city, I'd probably do the same thing, take the bike around the block. How cold can you get, actually? But you can tell the hardcore bikers, too. In fact, just the other day, and it was a little bit nippy out, but there was two of our local 81 members. There was a full patched and a prospect riding right beside him. Now the amusing thing was that the full patch was riding pretty hard, and we were in the truck here, so we're just watching from the truck, and they come around us pretty fast, and the prospect was doing all he could to keep up with the patched member. When you're out riding, though, say you went out last week and it was, comfortable. Where do you go? What's your destination? Well, a lot of guys like to go to the biker bar. Maybe you've never been to a biker bar before. Maybe you have some intimidation about walking into a bar. Maybe you don't want to go to a bar. I mean, V and I don't go to the bar anymore. When I did used to go to the bar, though, it's about 3 miles down the road. It's called Geno's, Geno. Gino passed away a few years back, and his widow's daughter took over the business, her and her husband. I believe her husband is a full-patched member of a 1% club, but has no bearing on the business there. They renamed it Geno's 2.0. Now the place is clean, it's been remodeled. When you walk in the door, you can tell right away that it's a biker bar. It just has all the cool biker stuff in there, and it's a really nice place. V and I haven't been there since they remodeled, but we do get correspondence from them. They have upped the menu. They got some pretty good, looks like some pretty good food there. And it just seems like a really, and I know from going there in the past, it was always a nice place to go. If you're in Medina, Ohio, I would recommend, and you're on your bike, I would recommend stopping at Geno's 2.0. Get yourself a beer and a burger, or you can even get a soda if you don't drink, I mean, I used to go to the bar and I didn't have to buy beer. I wasn't drinking for a long time, and I would just get bottled water. I would just make sure that I tipped the barmaid well, for a bottle of water, because, that's her, she makes her living off of the tips there. But anyway, you walk into, say you've never been in a bar before, you might have some intimidations about walking into a biker bar, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk in there, it's going to be a bunch of gang members in there or something, and I don't want to get beat up, maybe I shouldn't go in there. A bar like Geno's, I wouldn't be afraid to go in at all. Now, here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk in the door, and there may be some heads turned to see who you are. Because the majority of the people there all know each other. They've been going there for a while. Some of them are locals. They're not all bikers either. Some of them are just local farmers or retired people that go there just to enjoy the company, have a beer, and they like being around the bikers. But it is a place where bikers can gather. They have a large parking lot, and sometimes you go there on like a summer weekend when it's nice and sunny and warm, and the parking lot will be full of motorcycles, and it's shoulder to shoulder getting in there, and good luck trying to get a beer at the bar, because you might be waiting a while. But if you're to walk in there on a regular day, you might see some locals sitting there. You might see a few bikers in there. And nobody's really going to hassle you. They're just friendly people. They're and like I've said before, not everybody's the same. Not all personalities are the same. You're going to have some odd personalities in a bar, just like you do anywhere else. Not saying you wouldn't run into trouble, but it would be pretty rare if you did. Walk in there, you're not making a scene, you're not causing any trouble. You just want a cold beer, maybe you just want a cold Pepsi or a Coke, and that's all you want, and then you're going to hit the road again, and nobody's going to hassle you. You might even make some friends while you're in there. Now, remembering back to when I was a teen, I think I was 17, 18 years old, we were going to a rock concert up in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Allen Theater. Well, there wasn't any parking there on the street. We had to park a few blocks away at this municipal parking lot. Myself and a few of my buddies, and I had a gal with me. The girl had to pee real bad, and we still had a few blocks to go to get to the Allen Theater, and she said, I gotta go. Well, there was a tavern right there we're right downtown Cleveland, with the high buildings and everything, and there, right in the brick row of buildings, there's a tavern there. So we thought, well, let's go in there. You can use the restroom in there. We're like just a bunch of hippies, long hairs and leather jacket and whatever. Walk in there, and it's all hard hat steel workers, the whole place. Almost all of them turned their head to look at us, and we were standing there. I felt like I was from a different planet. Very odd. The girl asked the bartender if she could use the bathroom, and he pointed over in the corner, and she headed over that way, and we headed back outside because we were getting some pretty ugly stares from these hard hat steel workers. We didn't fit in there at all. It was a little uncomfortable. But the girl got to do their business in there, and we were back out in the street. We went to the concert to see Mata Hoople, the British band at that time, back in the 70s, or early 70s. They were, pretty well known. That was, intimidating for me walking into a bar. So I can imagine how some people would be intimidated walking into a biker bar too. I remember back when I was sitting at the bar with my buddy there at Geno's and had my back to the door. And, every time the front door opens, I'd turn around to see who it was because I knew everybody in there. I knew all the other bikers. I knew the locals. And it was just a habit, to see, who's here. Well, in the door comes V and her ex. They were still married at the time. And I was surprised because right away they didn't look like bikers at all. They were just a clean-cut couple. And I nudged my buddy, and he turned around, and he said, "What?" And I said, "Check these guys out." And he says, "Wow, they don't look like they're from around here." And I said, "No, they don't." But they came in, and nobody hassled them, and they made friends real quickly, and that was that. It was many years, a few years down the road that V and I both got into our own divorce situations. I was having major issues with my ex. She was having issues with her ex at the time, and we both ended up in terrible divorce situation. Not as a result of us, V and I, getting together, but in just different situation. We got together as a result of both being divorced or going through a divorce. And that's what kind of drew her and I together to kind of support each other. Well, V and I are sitting at the bar, and this is typical of the bar there. Across the other side of the bar, here's this old farmer, this old guy, and he's kind of overweight, and he's got his tractor hat on, and he's got his suspenders on, and he's got his beer in front of him there, and he starts yelling across the bar, "Hey, sweetheart! Hey, sweetheart! Hey!" I nudged V and I said, "I think he's talking to you." And she acknowledges him. He says, "How are you, sweetie?" She says, "Oh, I'm fine. How are you?" "I'm doing pretty good myself," and then he starts carrying on this conversation from across the bar with her. Well, she was wanting to have a drink with me there at the bar and not interested in carrying on a conversation across the bar with some local old geezer that was obviously inebriated. So I says, "Just ignore him, just drink your drink." When he's rattling on over there, we couldn't even understand what he was saying anyway. Every once in a while, we just look over there and nod our head, yeah, that's right. He'd be laughing to himself, he must have said something funny. I don't know what he said, but whatever. It didn't appear to be any trouble, and it wasn't either, Everybody was happy. But we used to like to dance there too. On the Friday nights they'd have karaoke, or Saturday nights they'd have a band there, and they had a little area, like a little dance floor there, where you could get up there and dance with your partner. And they'd say, "We're going to slow it down a little bit." So V and I would go up there, and we would, go around, dance to the slower music. And there was this cat up there, and he wasn't a biker. He was a local, like, construction guy or something. But he was always very disheveled, and he must have gone there right after work and started plowing beers because he was always inebriated. And he had his eyeballs on V, So we'd be up there dancing, and V would get this tap on the shoulder, and there would be this drunk guy. "Hey, can I have this dance with you?" And V would say, "Well, I'm dancing with Mark right now, I'm not interested." Well, he started getting pissed at me because he couldn't get a chance to dance with her. I think one time maybe she offered to dance with him, and I think he took that as a green light, that he could every time we went up to dance, he was going to go get his share of dancing in too, but we just kind of had to cut him off, and he got a little annoyed sometimes and directed his annoyance at me, like I was the one that was blocking him from being able to dance with my girlfriend. So yeah, you're going to run into characters like that. I mean, obviously, when people are drinking, they're going to, have that false sense of courage to say or do things that maybe they normally wouldn't do, and you'll get that. But normally, you're out on a weekend and you see this biker bar you've never been to before. You're on your scooter, you're on your bike, and you think, man, I could use, maybe I'm hungry, maybe I could use a burger, maybe I could, use a drink, maybe just want to drink a cold beer, maybe even a Pepsi or something. Am I worried to go in there? Should I be afraid to go in there? I'd say no. I'd say absolutely not. I'd say if you're up to it, just walk right in there and just mind your own business and go about what you wanted to do there. And you might meet some people, you might meet some new friends, and you might go back again another time. Because the majority of the people in there are going to be friendly. They're not about trouble. They're just about having a good time, enjoying themselves, and you can share in part of that too. Now, like I said, I'm not encouraging anybody to go to a bar. I'm just saying if you had any inclination to go to a biker bar and you had some intimidations about that, I don't think you have any real need to be afraid. You have no real need to have fear. Just pull up your big boy pants and walk in, and you'll probably be glad that you did. But like I said, I'm not condoning drinking. I don't really drink a whole lot anymore, and I'm not going to say that I don't drink, because on occasion I will. Of course, I won't go to the Mexican restaurant without getting a margarita. That's a given. But I like my margaritas, and I have everything here at home that I can make one if I feel like it. But I'm not condoning that at all. I know that, alcoholism can be a real problem for a lot of people, and I don't want to encourage that with anybody. It's just part of the biker culture, though, the biker bar. It's part of the biker culture. Well, thanks for watching, cats. Thanks for joining me today. As the weather gets warmer, maybe we'll see each other out on the road sometime. I'm looking forward to taking this thing out for a spin here pretty quick. Not today, but pretty quick here. It's right around the corner. Well, give me a thumbs up if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to the channel. Love to have you on board. Until next time, cats, ride hard and die free.